I filmed in abandoned asylums, slept in haunted hotels, and even spent a night in the Devil's Tramping Ground in North Carolina. Nothing prepared me for the Bell Witch. I wasn't even planning to go to Tennessee. My October horror series was supposed to end with a lighthearted visit to a local corn maze. But one of my subscribers sent me an email that changed everything. No name, no subject, just a link to a Reddit thread titled, "Don't break the rules if you visit the Bell Witch Cave, especially not after midnight." It read like typical creepypasta stuff until I scrolled down and saw an image, a journal, old and mold-stained, open to a page that read in shaky handwriting, "7 rules to survive the witch. Break one and she'll come." I don't know what got into me, but something about that page made my skin crawl in a way that felt real. 3 days later, I was standing on the overgrown trail that led to the ruins of the old Bell property in Adams, Tennessee. There's nothing left to the house now, just cracked stones where the foundation used to be, and a half-collapsed root cellar barely visible under vines. The real tourist site, the Bell Witch Cave, was closed for the season, locked tight behind a rustic gate. But I wasn't there for the tour. I was there to spend the night alone. I pitched my tent just outside the tree vine, set up my camera gear, and waited for nightfall. At 11:52 p.m., I started filming. "All right," I said, voice steady but my hands trembling just a little. "This is night 1 at the Bell Witch site. I'll be here until sunrise, unless something sends me running. They say if you follow the rules, she won't hurt you, but nobody knows who wrote them or why." I panned my flashlight over the mossy cellar door, cracked open just a few inches. "And tonight," I continued, holding up a printed copy of the Reddit post, "we're going to read them, one by one." I sat in front of the camera and opened the list. The first rule stared up at me in bold, underlined ink. Rule number 1, never say her name after midnight. I laughed nervously. Her name, right, that would be the Bell Witch. The moment I said it, a gust of wind blew through the trees. The kind of wind that doesn't feel like it's just moving air. It feels aware, like it's watching you. My camera flickered. I leaned forward, checking the battery, fully charged, but for a split second, the screen glitched, just a smear of static and what looked like a shape moving behind me. I turned quickly. Nothing, just the shadows of trees. "Okay," I said into the lens, trying to stay cool. "That was weird, but we're good." Midnight came and went. I kept filming. At 12:13 a.m., I heard the first sound. A soft scratching. I paused. "Could be a raccoon," I whispered. But the sound wasn't random. It was deliberate, slow. Scratch. Scratch. I muted the mic and stepped outside the tent. My flashlight cut through the darkness. There, on the rotted wood of the cellar door, were fresh claw marks. 3 of them, deep, as if something had dragged its nails across it just seconds ago. I didn't see anyone, or anything. I backed away, heart pounding, and returned to the tent. The camera was still rolling. That's when I saw the journal. It hadn't been there before. It was lying just beside my sleeping bag. Old, cracked leather, warped from moisture. I picked it up, breath catching in my throat. The first page was identical to the photo on Reddit. 7 rules to survive the witch. But now, under rule number 1, someone had added in fresh ink, "You already broke it. She knows." I dropped the book. The camera caught everything. My face drained of color, my voice shaking as I whispered, This wasn't here before." And then, clear as day, right beside my ear, a whisper, "I heard you." The tent door rippled behind me as if someone had just brushed past it. I whipped around. Nothing. I grabbed the camera and started to pack. Screw the video. Screw the views. I wasn't going to stay. That's when I noticed the timestamp. The footage had been recording for exactly 13 minutes and 13 seconds. And frozen on the screen in the playback preview was a single frame of me sitting in the tent. Except there was a figure behind me. Pale, female, dressed in what looked like a tattered white dress. No eyes, just black pits. But I swear to you, I never saw her while filming. I didn't sleep that night. I sat with the flashlight on, clutching the journal, too afraid to close my eyes. And just before dawn, a new line appeared on the last page of the book. Scrawled in that same shaky ink, 1 down, 6 to go. By the time the first pale light broke through the trees, I was already packing. The journal was stuffed into my backpack, my camera battery dead despite being full just hours before, and my nerves completely frayed. I told myself I'd filmed enough to cobble together a creepy video, slap on a dramatic title like "I Survived the Bell Witch," and move on with my life. But the second I turned onto the gravel road, I saw it, scratched into the dirt on my windshield in the same shaky scrawl as the journal. "If you leave now, she'll follow." My chest tightened. No footprints, no tire tracks, nothing. Just that message. I hesitated. I could feel it, not just fear, but a weight in the air, like the woods didn't want me to go. Something ancient, watching, breathing. Against every ounce of instinct, I turned the engine off. I walked back to the site, heart hammering, the woods deadly silent. No birds, no insects, just me and that cursed ruin. And the cellar door. It looked different. The claw marks were deeper, more jagged. And now there were 2 faint handprints on the inside, pressed against the wood, as if someone had tried to get out. Or pretended to. I pulled the journal from my backpack. The next rule was already there. Rule number 2. Don't open the cellar door, no matter what you hear. Beneath it, in newer ink, was a single warning. She lies. I set my camera back on its tripod, facing the cellar. This time, I recorded a live voice log. If something happened to me, at least people would know I hadn't made it up. "Time is 9:04 a.m., I said. "I'm still at the Bell Witch site. Found another message this morning. She doesn't want me to leave." I paused. And now, something's knocking. As if on cue, a soft thud, thud, thud echoed from beneath the cellar. 3 knocks, measured, human. I froze. Another knock. And then a voice, muffled, female, pleading. "Hello, can you hear me? Please help me, I'm trapped." The voice of a young girl, weak, panicked. I backed away. No, 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 this is a trick. The voice grew louder, more desperate. "Please, I've been down here all night. I can't breathe." My throat tightened. It sounded so real, too real. I circled the cellar, looking for signs of a speaker, a trap, anything to explain what I was hearing. But there was nothing. Just old stone, rotting beams, and that door. That damn door. Another knock. Then something different. Scraping. Long, slow, grinding across the inside of the door, like nails or claws. I turned back to the journal, flipping to the next page in desperation. A new line had appeared. The voice isn't hers. Don't let her out. I stumbled backward, and the voice changed. Not a little girl now. Deeper, older, and wrong. You're the one, it said. The one who said my name. The knocking stopped. Then, silence. I didn't realize I was crying until I saw the drops on the back of my hand. My whole body was shaking. And then, without warning, the door creaked. Just an inch. Enough to hear the hinge moan. Enough to let something breathe. I sprinted forward and slammed it shut with both hands. The wood was ice cold. My palms burned where they touched it. From the other side came a low, guttural laugh. We're going to have fun with you. I dropped a cinder block over the door, weighted it down with whatever I could find. Rocks, rusted iron, my entire pack. Then I grabbed the journal and ran. Back to the road, back to my car. The windshield was clean now, the message gone. No sign anyone or anything had touched it. But the passenger door was open, and inside, on the seat, lay a new note written in torn paper from the journal. You didn't let her out. Good. But the rules don't end here. And beneath it, in smaller writing, you need to sleep. She loves dreams. I drove. I didn't care where. I just needed distance, miles of it, between me and that cellar door, between me and her. I ended up at a cheap roadside motel just off Highway 41, a place where the flickering neon sign said, "No refunds." Perfect. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want this to follow me. But deep down, I already knew. It had. I locked the door, drew the curtains, and shoved the journal under the mattress. If I couldn't see the rules, maybe I could pretend none of this was real. I shouldn't have fallen asleep, but I was so tired, and that's when the dream started. The motel room was the same, but wrong. Too quiet, air too thick. Shadows stretched longer than they should have. I stood in the middle of the room, heart thudding, ears straining for something, anything. Then I heard her. The girl's voice again, but softer now, humming. A lullaby I didn't recognize. The melody twisted in ways that made my stomach churn. I turned slowly. There she was, sitting cross-legged on the motel bed, facing the wall. Her hair was long, matted, her dress soaked in mud, skin like cracked porcelain. She stopped humming. Without turning, she whispered, "You said my name." I opened my mouth, but no sound came. She began crawling, backwards, still facing away, limbs bending the wrong way, in jerky, twitching motions, toward me. Closer, closer. Then she snapped her head around, unnatural, like an owl, and I saw her face. There were no eyes, just hollow sockets, black and endless. "Do you want to see where I live?" she whispered. I screamed. I bolted awake, drenched in sweat, gasping. The motel room looked normal again. Normal Except for one thing. The journal was on my chest, and on the open page was rule number 3. If you dream of her, don't wake up screaming. Beneath that, in fresh ink, the words bled through. Now she knows where you sleep. I leapt out of bed, heart hammering. My phone buzzed violently on the nightstand, an unknown number calling. 3:03 a.m. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. Static at first. Then, that same lullaby, off-key, getting louder. I hung up and threw the phone across the room. I barely had time to breathe before the TV turned on by itself. Black screen, white text. Do not scream. I backed away slowly. Then, a knock at the door. Not hard, not fast, just 3 slow, deliberate knocks. I peeked through the peephole. Nobody there. Another knock, this time from the bathroom mirror. I turned and saw it. Her reflection, standing behind me, smiling. But she wasn't really there, just in the glass. I didn't scream. I wanted to. I wanted to curl into a ball and sob until morning. But I remembered the rule. Don't wake up screaming. So I sat, back to the mirror, eyes on the journal, heart pounding like a war drum. And then, nothing. No knock, no whisper, just silence. When I dared to look again, the reflection was gone. But scrawled in fog across the mirror, next time, scream. I dare you. The sun finally rose around 6:12 a.m. I hadn't slept again. I packed my things, grabbed the journal, and left the motel without looking back. But as I pulled onto the highway, I saw her again. A girl in a white dress, standing in the middle of the woods, watching me, waiting. And I knew this wasn't just a haunted place anymore. It was a haunted life. And the rules, they were just getting started. I thought about burning the journal. I really did. But I couldn't. Somehow, it felt alive. Like it would scream if I tried. Or worse, she would. So I drove. No destination. Just open road, engine hum, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, you could outrun a curse. Spoiler alert, you can't. Around 4 p.m., I found myself near Adams, Tennessee, the birthplace of the Bell Witch legend. Ironic, right? Maybe not. Maybe fate. I stopped for gas and coffee. The old man behind the counter looked at the journal sticking out of my backpack. He didn't say anything, just stared at it with a kind of haunted recognition. "You're not from around here," he muttered. "No. Then you don't know the name, do you?" I froze. What name? He didn't answer, just shook his head like he'd seen a ghost 50 years ago and never quite got over it. I left without another word. That night, I pulled over at a rest stop near Red River. I should have kept going, but I was exhausted. And besides, it was public, lit, safe. So I told myself. I parked under a flickering street lamp, locked the doors, curled up in the back seat with the journal on my lap. I don't know why I opened it, but there it was. Rule number 4. Never read her name out loud. Underneath, written in what looked like dried blood, if you say it, she hears it. If you repeat it, she comes. I laughed, a dry, cracked sound. Then I saw the next page, a name, scribbled dozens of times, like someone had gone mad writing it over and over again. Annabeth Kane. Something about it made my throat dry. It wasn't just a name. It felt like a command. I whispered it once, accidentally. Instantly, every light in the rest stop parking lot went out. I froze. The silence was absolute. Then, a sound behind the car, like nails dragging along the metal. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. I stared at the rear view mirror. Nothing there. But the dragging continued, all the way around, until it stopped right outside my window. I held my breath. A pale hand slowly pressed against the glass. Long fingers, too many joints. And then, in a voice that scraped across my brain like a rusted blade, "You called me." I didn't scream. I didn't move. Then she laughed, not like a child, like something pretending to be one. She whispered again, "Say it again." I clenched my jaw, tears running down my face. "Say it again, and I'll crawl inside your mouth while you sleep." I turned the key, started the car, slammed into drive, and didn't look back. I drove for hours, watching the mirrors, waiting for her to appear in the back seat. But she didn't. Not that night. At sunrise, I pulled into an empty diner off the freeway, ordered black coffee, trying to steady my hands. The waitress was kind, middle-aged, tired eyes. She noticed the journal and asked if I was a writer. Not exactly. "Well," she said, setting down the mug, "be careful what names you write. Words have power, especially hers." I froze. "You know about her?" She gave a sad little smile and walked away. I checked the journal again. The page with her name was gone, but a new line was written in red ink beneath rule number 4. "You said it once. That's all she needs." I don't know what that means. Not exactly. But I know this. The rules aren't here to protect me from her. They're here to contain her. And one by one, I'm breaking them. I didn't go home. After what happened with the name, her name, I knew better than to return to anything familiar. But she still found me. The sign started subtly, mirrors fogging without steam, clocks stopping at 3:15 a.m., and the low sound of a bell ringing in the distance no matter where I was. I tried motels, truck stops, sleeping in the car, even staying awake for days. It didn't help. Because rule number 5 was already in motion. The journal had only one entry left. No ink, just a deep gouge carved directly into the leather inside cover. Rule number 5. When the bell tolls, don't answer the door. No explanation, no story, just a rule, and the sound of a slow, distant toll echoing in my skull. By the third night, I was in a rundown Airbnb in the woods of rural Kentucky, a place without neighbors, without roads, without noise. I thought isolation might give me an edge. I was wrong. At exactly 3:15 a.m., the bell tolled. I jolted awake. The sound didn't come from inside. It came from all around me, like the trees, the ground, even the walls were vibrating with it. And then, 3 knocks on the cabin door. Not loud, not rushed, just deliberate. I froze in bed, my breath shallow, my hands clenched around the flashlight I hadn't turned off in 3 days. Knock, knock, knock. Silence. Then a whisper, like wind through dead branches. "I know you're awake." I gripped the journal, now torn and stained. My eyes fixated on that final rule. Don't answer the door. I didn't move, but something else did. I heard footsteps in the ceiling. Impossible. The cabin didn't have a second floor. Then scratching inside the walls. Then whispering, soft, indecipherable. Then louder. My name, David. Not in one voice, but many. Overlapping, layered, like dozens of versions of myself screaming from inside different mirrors. The bell tolled again, and this time the front door slowly creaked open on its own. There are moments when fear becomes a decision: fight, flight, or surrender. I chose none. I sat there, frozen. A shadow moved in the doorway. Not human, not even humanoid. It crawled across the floor like smoke clinging to bone. And then she stood. She looked like a woman, but her eyes were holes. Her mouth hung open too wide. Her fingers never stopped twitching. You broke the final rule. I didn't speak. Couldn't. She stepped forward. Do you know why the rules exist? I shook my head. She leaned down, inches from my face, the smell of rot and damp earth choking the air. They don't protect you, David. They protect me from becoming real. My chest tightened. You gave me form. You gave me a name. You opened the door. The bell tolled one final time, louder than thunder. She opened her mouth, and everything went black. I woke up this morning in a hospital, alone. No injuries, no signs of trauma. No one remembers the cabin. No one believes me. They think I had a breakdown. The journal? Gone. But last night, at 3:15 a.m., I heard it again. The bell, and 3 soft knocks on my hospital door. Epilogue. I don't know how much longer I have. I'm not telling you this to get sympathy. I'm telling you this because you might be next. If you ever find a journal with 5 rules, don't read them. And whatever you do, don't say her name. And never, ever answer the door when the bell tolls.